Hello, everybody.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Episode 268.
268. I'm crawling up in your ears right now.
Oh, that's kind of creepy.
It's 100% creepy. Yeah. It's not kind of. You're being kind. That's a really creepy way to say I'm crawling up in your ears. Yeah.
Star Trek 2.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, nice reference. Oh, Admiral Kirk. Admiral Kirk. That's right. It's a Khan reference right out of the gate, guys. Who wants to chase the house?
We got a lot of movies to talk about today. Which is surprising.
Considering.
We're going to be talking about Everly. We're going to be talking about The Water Diviner, Hot Pursuit. Some great movies on DVD. Wait till we get to those. And
really, Mordecai?
Yeah. And some actual great movies coming out this week.
Yes.
An odd release schedule. We'll talk about that as well.
Such an odd release schedule. First, I want to give shout-outs to some people who came to see me in wonderful Lake Havasu.
Nice.
Doing a couple of bar gigs out in Havasu. That was great. I'd never been there. I went to college in Tucson.
Was it the same bar, or was it multiple? Was it a string of bar gigs?
It was a comedy pub crawl?
Yeah.
No, it was just this one guy, Jared Pennington, who has this pub called Pennington's, and he's like, hey, do you want to come out and do a Wednesday night? And then that sold out, so we did Wednesday and Thursday.
Oh, very cool.
And the crazy thing was, like I said, I went to college in Arizona. I'd never been to Havasu, mainly because it was just had this, MTV spring break thing about it that they say doesn't happen as much anymore. Everyone in that town owns a boat, and they drive them around all day. That's all they do is you see boats just in parking lots everywhere. But yeah, it was
everywhere except in the lake.
Except the lake. No one's in the lake because of the Piranha movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a cool gig. So thanks to everybody that came out. And then of course, I went to go see, recurring, Film Nerds Podfest guest Joey McIntyre and his little group, the New Kids on the Block. I saw them at the Forum.
Wow.
They went through my head. Like, isn't that New Kids on the Block? And I looked at you and I'm like, no, it couldn't. That can't be him. No. Yeah, please tell me it's not.
Yeah. He's been a guest on this show twice.
Really?
But before that, you were a fan. Let's be clear.
Well, I was always been a New Kids fan. I'm a blockhead from back in the day. When I was in college and those teenage boys became popular, loved them. That was a blast. So it's so funny because Kristen, you don't know. Well, let's introduce our guest real quick. Kristen Carney, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, it's me.
I'm really a big fan of our guest for the main reason that she showed up.
Wow, we have been having some.
The standards are high around here.
Yeah. A lot of guests kind of been canceling at the last minute.
We've been on a hot cancel streak.
Yeah, well, we were more surprised when you showed up. Really, that's the way it's been going.
Well,
the last couple of weeks.
Things aren't going well for me if I show up to a podcast. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I've got nothing else going on.
And you're worried about being late.
Yeah. I was 2 minutes late, and I'm like, oh no, they're never going to have me back. That's how bad it is for me right now.
So I guess we've had a lot of guests that have a lot more going on than wanting to be
exactly. Good for them.
Do this. Yeah. I wish I could cancel this.
Yeah, well, on my podcast, if people don't show up, I'm like, I understand. Yeah, I get it. I'm kind of on their side.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, I want to tell you that because I know you were like, wait, how do you know the New Kids? Mm-hmm. I met Joey through some friends, didn't know who he was. And
genuinely, you were like not faking.
No, not faking. I literally had no idea, and we, became buddies. Just started talking, and how you doing? Run into each other, and then he was telling me, I'm just sort of busy. I'm putting this whole tour together thing because I knew he told me he was a musician. He was like, I'm doing a gig at the Palm in Vegas. I was like, I played there. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking, he's a lounge act.
Yeah, he's on my level, right?
He's only on he's doing.
Well, he's below your level now, to be honest with you. But.
So he and then he was like telling me this, and I thought he had said it's a lot of work. It would be as though the Backstreet Boys and the New Kids were putting a tour together. That's what I thought he said. And I was like, oh yeah, totally. I can see how you're busy. And then as I was speaking, it dawned on him. oh, Graham has no idea. And he goes, wait, no, Graham, I'm in the New Kids on the Block. And I go, what? And he goes, what's the matter? Don't you know your boy bands? And I was like, it's been a while since I've been a teenage girl, Joey. And
it's weird. How do you throw that in there when you were in the New Kids on the Block? You know, it's not like, can you pass me the salt? I was in the New Kids on the Block.
It would be, and the fact, and it's a testament to kind of, he is this sort of regular guy. Like he doesn't carry that around. He's not like dressing all glammed out.
I hope not, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'd be better if he was.
Yeah. For all of us.
Like, I remember one time we were
still dressed like the lead singer from Loverboy. Something like that. He's got a bandana.
God, I'm going to start dressing like that. I think that's how I'm going to carry myself and just assume people know I used to be in a boy band that never existed. So it's so weird. Like, he's been on our podcast twice, you know, at Podfest in this little hotel in front of like 150, 200 people. And then, you know, every time I see him, I'm like, there's a guy, like, and I'm at the concert with a friend, and he's doing his solo, and 20,000 people are screaming, and I just lean over and go, he cooked me pancakes at his house on Christmas Day.
It's amazing.
Like seeing Dean Haglund at Comic-Con.
Yes! Yeah. It's like everyone's freaking out, and you're just like, well, that's just
That's
Dean.
just the guy who was in the garage.
Like,
he made a painting for us.
And I was like, yeah, exactly. And I'm watching this, I'm like, you know, 2 days ago I was at a bar gig, and like half a second. It's just like,
and then, oh, that's right. You're a giant star. I forget sometimes.
Right. My friend is a giant star, and I do bar gigs.
I've had that happen to me with like actresses where I don't know. Like I had actually someone on our podcast recently, and I didn't know they showed up kind of randomly, and so I wasn't like prepped on who it was, and I got her name wrong, and I was like, oh, it's this lady, and she's, you know, I mean, she's not that big of a deal, but she's in True Detective this season, and all of a sudden I was like, whoa, you know, I thought I was up here, and she was like, no, sister, I'm up here. So.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's their shows are a blast. I mean, they're like these big hydraulic stage, and they've got
it's like one big hot flash.
It is. It's insane. They got a full band. And
the hydraulic stage is because they can't move on their own anymore.
Yeah,
it just like throws them.
Like, we got to make the stages move. But no, man, the stage is huge, and they're running back and forth. And I always said this to them, like every time I see them, I go, dude, I stand and tell jokes for 45, 50 minutes, and I'm exhausted, and you guys are running around like for 2 hours. They did a 2-hour show, so. If you guys haven't got tickets, go
selling out.
Hashtag NKOTB.
Yeah, work it.
Boy
band, work it.
Did he throw in like the old kids on the block anymore? Like, is that something that they're like play around with?
Well, they do some of their classics. They're having a blast. And they do classics, their classic stuff. I mean, they got to do Step by Step. He just, Please Don't Go Girl.
Yeah, because you can't really change the title 20 years later.
Yeah.
But I feel like they should joke around with it.
They have a great sense of humor about themselves.
Yeah.
They're not like
Sonic Youth.
Yeah,
right.
They get it. Like when he's doing his Please Don't Go Girl solo, right? And everyone's going crazy, and he takes a break. He goes, you know, guys, I've been doing this song for 27 years. 27 fucking years, and everyone's laughing, and then he goes back into, maybe I'll do it another 10 more, and everyone screams, another 15, and everyone's like everyone kind of loves it. Like, there's a lot of people there for the nostalgia. They're having fun with it. They came out in the middle of the show. They're in tuxedos, and they have a full band, and they're playing like standards, and that was really cool. And then TLC opened up for them.
Oh my God. Total blast from the past.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they did a nice tribute at the end for Lisa Left Eye, and then Nelly. And I was like, Nelly?
More like now Lisa No Eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
You said not like morning radio, but I'm going for it.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, and then and Nelly was on the show. And I was like, what Nelly songs? Turns out I didn't realize he's got every song you've heard in a nightclub the last 10 years. Is it getting hot in here? And I was like, oh, okay. So it was a blast. I had a blast. So big shout out to Joey for that. So now.
So you haven't been going to nightclubs every night for the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't.
It's weird that you would have heard all those songs.
Goes to bed early so we can do yoga in the morning is not night clubbing.
So Kristen, tell us about your podcast, and then we'll get into the films.
So my podcast is called Ask Women, and I think the name is a little bit misleading because I'm a man.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Is a little bit misleading because it's an advice dating show, but it's really funny at the same time. So it's it's like a good place for guys who struggle with chicks to come get legit information while it not being overdone or preachy or pickup artisty, because I'm a comic. I'm not involved in that world at all. But my co-host, she's a dating expert, and I do air quotes, and she'll see me do that. She doesn't care. Because it's
like when you say life coach.
Yeah, it's kind of like she is self-taught. It's total life coach stuff. So, but she's really successful. She makes a great living at it, and she has a huge following. So we get a decent listenership, and yeah, it's entertaining, and you guys should come on it.
Nice.
Not that I'm insinuating you need help with the ladies.
Well, Chris is married.
Yeah, I'm off the market for a very long time.
But we do every show. We have a different guy on the show, and they give male advice because we don't want it to be like this estrogen fest.
Oh, like what women could do to help. Do you have a fair amount of female listeners?
We have so it's mostly male listeners.
Okay.
Yeah, like I would say 90% of our audience is male, and they're listening for advice from women on women. Mm-hmm. And so the guy we usually have in the studio so that he can give a more realistic viewpoint if we're getting too womanly.
Oh.
You know, we don't want it to turn into this fest of like, do the dishes and blah, blah, you know. So we always have a guy on to just
do the dishes.
You know.
But technically, you want them to do the dishes.
All the time.
Yeah.
That's the whole moral of the podcast.
The driving force.
Do the goddamn dishes, please. So, yeah. But you can find it on Sideshow Network and then on iTunes, of course, and all that.
Great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's start talking about the movies. I want to talk about Everly. Now,
all right, buddy.
This was the Salma Hayek movie. This was an interesting movie. This was Joe Lynch's film, and Joe Lynch did a movie a couple years ago called The Knights of Badassdom. Mm-hmm. That got pretty much butchered by the studio, taken away from him. And again, a small studio, not a huge one. Basically, he got asylum'd. Is what happened. Right. And now with this movie, he was able to kind of make the movie he wanted, and basically, it's pretty much Salma Hayek running around in skimpy clothes, but never really leaving her apartment, as she is.
I can relate to this.
Yeah, as assailed by basically members of the Japanese mafia, which
of course
you do every day.
Still very relatable.
Yeah.
Konnichiwa.
Yeah.
Super racist.
So she's basically a sex slave that turns on them, and then they come after her. So she inexplicably has a cache of guns underneath the floorboards.
Again, relatable.
As we all do.
She starts cleaning house. Now, this was an okay movie. I wouldn't even put it like a B movie. This is more of like a C+ kind of movie, and it was the kind of movie that you know exactly what you're getting into when you
It's just a reverse raid?
It's pretty much a reverse raid, yeah, where it is an apartment complex, but she never leaves her actual apartment. They all kind of come in after her. So she's in the complex, but then she's got like a mother and a daughter, and then they kind of come visit her when the whole thing is happening. So there's some interesting
Mom, I've got dinner ready, and these Japanese guys are going to kill us.
So
honey, go grab mommy's guns.
So there's like some fun, interesting twists because, you know, Joe Lynch, he has a sense of humor about the film. One of the things, it's kind of a mix of like Tarantino and a couple other like action/horror directors. I think at this point, Joe Lynch, he's still fairly new where he hasn't quite found his specific voice in the genre, but you can see a lot of really like raw talent there. Mm-hmm. Like you're very engaged. There's certain scenes where they're very compelling as far as like kind of like that B movie, almost like the way the Screen movies were. They were like they're trying to make an A quality B movie. This is like B quality C movie kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. So the movie's aware of what it's
very much so,
right.
very much so. But the tone shifts a little bit too much.
Much
sometimes.
Like the New Kids.
Yes, much like the New Kids, where it's kind of like satirical and over the top violence. Then there's also kind of some scenes that are a little more disturbing and like, you know, kind of torture centric where you're like, I don't know if we had to go there. We were kind of having fun with an over the top kind of raid type movie.
How come these directors or writers don't commit to the style? They want to go all over the place.
You know what? That's a good question. I think it's more along the lines of they're not sure. And sometimes the tone becomes more evident in the editing room when they've already shot everything.
Right.
So I think sometimes what happens is they have all this footage that is maybe one tone and all this footage is maybe slightly off that tone, but the way it's edited.
I think another answer to that question, it's a great question, is like, I think too often directors might get caught up in this scene will be cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they just let's just do this scene, and they don't really see how is that going to affect the overall tone of the movie
and how it fits into the big picture of the film.
It's just crazy that no one really says, whoa, this doesn't fit with everything else. Because I see so many movies like that.
Yeah.
They're trying to be everything.
And genre movies especially. And when you straddle that line of kind of satire, violence, comedy, it's tough to do. And one of the great examples of a completely correct even tone all the way through was Guardians of the Galaxy. You have science fiction, humor, and action all together, but the tone is never off. It's consistent all the way through.
Right.
And that has nothing to do with budget. That has to do with,
but
the
also,
vision of the film.
in all fairness, Guardians of the Galaxy when a comic book movie, when done correctly, sticks with the comic. It's already been laid out in the comic, where this is just sort of...
So this movie is definitely worth your view. It's not perfect. It's definitely got some uneven tone to it. But I want to see Joe Lynch's next movie. Like that.
Okay.
There's a lot of raw talent there. And there's some great funny scenes, like really Tarantino-esque, but I want to see him develop his own voice, his own style, and give me a 100% pure Joe Lynch movie when he decides what that is.
And so...
Yeah, right.
Right, which, and honestly, that's not a slam.
No, it isn't. Not
It's
at
just
all.
like anyone developing. It's like if you see a young comic who's been doing it 2-3 years, I go, oh man, I can't wait to see them 5 years from now.
Exactly.
And
that's what this felt like.
Cool. Mm-hmm. All right. So, Kristen, you did the Lord's work.
The unthinkable.
And you went and saw Hot Pursuit
Yes.
for this podcast.
I did.
Which
also
again, I don't have a lot going on. Any opportunity to see Hot Pursuit, I was like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Those billboards have been annoying me for a long time.
The first billboard was like, this
is weird.
This is going to be worse than Paul Blart.
It's the Mordecai billboard all over again.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've been driving around seeing this odd combination of Reese Witherspoon and Sofia Vergara. And every time I've seen it's like nails on a chalkboard. It's just they don't fit together. I can see them in real life hating each other, which I've heard they do, which is so satisfying. And so, I mean, I went into the theater completely already like, I go everywhere angry, by the way. This coffee I got today, I was angry. So I definitely had absolutely zero expectations, and I hate to be on a podcast that talks about films and the quality of, filmmakers and say this. It wasn't that bad.
Oh my, what?
Yeah. And I know there's probably people listening that are cringing. But the movie was committed to what it was. And I think that to me, and that's why I asked that question, that to me is so important in films. If you're going to be, and I always say this, like, I like people who are who they are and don't try to change.
Sure.
And so, for example, I love Snooki from Jersey Shore. Why? She's a total idiot. In real life, I would never be friends with her, but she is who she is, and she doesn't care. She's this Jersey girl who's a complete bozo, and she's owning it.
And cashed in on it.
It's like, good for her. She's not trying to be more artsy now that she's famous. So she's not, like, whatever.
She didn't open an art studio?
She didn't. No. She's not donating to children in Africa. She's still this idiot from New Jersey. So I like that. And so what I liked about Hot Pursuit was that it was what it was. It was dumb and idiotic, but they committed to that.
They owned it.
Yeah. And there's something to be said for that.
They didn't try to jam in some heartfelt
Well, they did for one brief moment. But what I liked, I was crying. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God.
But in that moment, what I liked about that moment was that Sofia Vergara was lying about her heartfelt feelings. So you thought she was having a moment, but she was actually being an asshole. And she was lying about her, brother.
This was on screen or what you heard about
on screen. Yeah. No, I was reading tons of info before I went. I was like, I need the on-set gossip. The other thing is with something like this is that it's like, critics, it's got 6% on Rotten Tomatoes. So I usually, if I go into a movie and it's got 6% from critics on Rotten Tomatoes, I will agree and absolutely hate it. Right. That's so low. but the audience was like, I think 49% on Rotten Tomatoes. But what the problem is, I think, with these movies is you have to rate them on a different basis. It's basically like critics go in and they're judging all movies in the exact same way, where I feel like that's like judging McDonald's when you're looking for food from Wolfgang Puck.
Yeah, or
you know,
five-star restaurant.
Yeah, so I almost feel like you have to go in with a completely different set of rules for movies like this. You know they're shit. You know they don't have any artistic integrity. They're empty. You know, they're it's so funny. I'm like, it's so horrible, but I liked it. It's pathetic. I don't know.
I hear what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
No, I get your point.
Because
Absolutely.
we talked about on the show how much we loved the Fast and Furious movies.
Oh, you did?
Because they're exactly, you're not, and you shouldn't judge that movie like Godfather.
Right.
Like
exactly.
What's the character arc of Rock?
Yeah.
Of the Rock?
Yeah.
No, his
Now,
character
what
arc
do you-
is
right.
what do you
It was
think-
stupid.
What do you
exactly.
think the pitch was for Hot Pursuit?
Two hot chicks running from the law. It's like, in my mind, I was thinking, they're like Thelma and Louise for 2015, you know, and that's pathetic because Thelma and Louise was amazing, and it came nowhere near being a Thelma and Louise.
Comedy.
It's a comedy.
Did it have moments that made you actually?
Well, yeah. So that's what I liked about it, was that it was actually funny in a stupid way. Wow. So if you can throw your pretentiousness out the window and go in and just be willing to actually kind of laugh, then you won't hate it. I legitimately thought it had funny moments, and I don't know how detailed to get, but
just don't spoil it.
yeah, like Jim Gaffigan's in it, and his cameo is pretty cute. You know, and again, stupid as can be. Not smart funny, but stupid funny, and I did laugh. And I went in there thinking, like, I was totally stone-faced.
How many other people were in the theater with you?
Probably I would say 10.
Yeah.
I mean, expected, you know. I had great seats, if that's what you're asking. Yeah. My feet were out on the seat in front of me. But people were laughing in the theater.
Well, that's surprising.
Yeah.
It's a surprising review.
Because
Okay,
we all,
so be
I
it.
think, we were definitely in agreement. All of us, just the billboard, made us all go,
Exactly.
oh, good.
Yeah.
The trailer and
Yeah.
early critic reviews were hilarious.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So I'm sure I'm going to.
I mean, you guys might see it and go, "Oh my god, it sucks. It's total shit." But it made me laugh, and you know, I have a pretty, I can't say I have a high laugh standard, and then say I laughed at Hot Pursuit. But movies, I'm pretty judgmental on comedy, because doing stand up, I also get kind of bitter, or like, oh, I want to be involved in it, and so I kind of go in with like my nose in the air in a way, and it takes me a lot. Like, I don't laugh at sitcoms for the most part, unless it's Seinfeld or Frasier or something like that.
Right.
So I do go in pretty judgmental, and I enjoyed it. I don't know, maybe someone like shot me up with laughing gas before I went in. It's like, I don't know really why I did, but I did.
All right, that was a surprising review
All right.
from Kristen.
I actually will, when I see that on a plane in 5 months, I will actually go, all right, I'm going to give it a shot.
You're not going to hope the plane crashes.
Just into your house if you're wrong.
Yeah. Apartment.
Right.
I'm not that successful, as I mentioned.
That's right. If you had a house, you wouldn't be on the show.
Hot Pursuit, if you see it on a plane, you'll have to trust but verify.
Okay, I saw The Water Diviner, and I must say I had the exact opposite.
Experience?
The exact opposite experience. Saw the trailer, and I think we talked about this trailer on the show, and we're like, man, it looks cool. It's Russell Crowe looking for his sons after World War I. It's about this awful battle in Gallipoli in Turkey that many, the Australians lost just tens of thousands of people at that one battle. And, that's how the movie starts. And I'm like, wow, this is a really intense thing. And, he's like, I'm going to go find these kids. And the first half of the movie, maybe even first 2 acts, are pretty solid. And when he gets there, there's these really amazing commentaries on war, in the sense that, like, one of the Australian soldiers, it's 5 years after, so they're now working with the Turks to exhume the bodies and put names to them and all this stuff like that. And one of the Australian soldiers is like, you know, mad at this because they're dealing with the Turkish military. And this one guy is like, his nickname was the assassin or the butcher or something like that. So they're like, because
he probably killed a bunch of Australians.
Right, of course. And then there's this one scene and you know, Russell Crowe's mad about that. Because maybe this guy killed one of his kids, and this other officer, let me bring up his name, the water diviner. The other officer is played by Jai Courtney. So he's an Australian actor, and he's been in a bunch of stuff. So he makes a great point. He goes, you know, the Turks, you know, didn't take prisoners. They killed guys. We did too. He goes, honestly, I don't know if any of us can be forgiven for what happened here. And it's like, oh, wow. Mm-hmm. There's stuff like that. There's a scene where he's talking to a British commander. He's like trying to get access to this area. And the British commander goes, this is the first war where we're like trying to find soldiers and their names and give them proper burials. You know what? Every battle prior to this, Waterloo, and he lists off all these historic battles. He goes, we dug a hole, put all the soldiers and the donkeys and the horses and threw some lime on it. So I'm sorry.
I do that to avocado.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like that's what she was just like, wow. And it was like really relevant, you know. And then they get into this love story nonsense.
But now the premise is, though, that he goes to find the bodies of his kids and finds that one of them's still alive.
One of them is potentially still alive. Mm-hmm. So that's the whole, oh my God, I got to find this kid.
Yeah.
So
it sounds like a deeper Taken or something.
Yeah, it's with a really serious historic. I mean, he's you know, this is a big part of not just the world's history, but a big part of Australia's history.
Yeah.
On board with the premise.
Board with the premise.
Where did it go wrong?
So the thing you just described, does it seem like it needs a love story?
No. Again, it didn't commit.
Right.
Just be what you are.
It was exactly
right.
Commit to the history. They say it's based on actual events. Mm-hmm. So just fucking stick to that.
Right.
Like, what do you need? And so he meets Olga Kurilenko in Turkey, which he's staying
at James Bond villain.
Yeah. Well, she was in a Bond film, right? So at this hotel, and when he first meets her, she's like, "Oh, you're English?" He's like, "No, I'm Australian." And there's immediate hostility. So I'm like, "Well, this is really cool. Let's see on a personal level how people were going to work through this. Like, you know, your side we were each trying to kill each other,
right?
And
so it got very personal.
It got very personal, but then it get muddled into, like, honestly, I felt like I was like watching a Hollywood movie. Like, Hollywood bought the rights to this Australian story and then put a bunch of nonsense in there. I'm like, well, Russell Crowe, you directed this thing. You own the rights to it.
What happened?
Why did you do this? And then, you know, when he's looking for the son, which should be this amazing thing, it turns into this sort of ridiculous Indiana Jones. You know what I mean? Like,
was this his like directorial debut? Was this his first?
Let's see.
Because whenever I
think it
hear
is his directorial debut,
whenever they say debut,
you're
an
right,
actor's directorial debut, I know it's. In my mind, I have zero desire to see it. It just seems like it's going to end up being confused. And
well, number one, they're always vanity projects.
Yes,
and number two, it's that transition that not every actor can make.
Right.
You know,
and
it's like, oh, well, you're a dentist. You know, oh, well, can you operate on my heart? You're both doctors, right?
Right.
What's the difference?
Right, and it's given to them because everything at this point in their careers is just given to them, so it doesn't matter if they're good at it.
I think
so. It always just sets up for.
That's what my first instinct, when I just heard, oh, he's directing this, I was like, oh, great.
Yeah.
When I saw the trailer, I went, oh, maybe actually there are a handful of actors that can pull this off.
Like Ben Affleck did do pretty well with Argo.
Fantastic.
Of course, obviously.
Oh my God. I mean, Gone Girl.
He directed Gone Girl?
No, I'm sorry. Gone Baby Gone.
Oh, okay.
And The Town.
Right.
I mean, that was like, wow.
Yeah.
Like
very surprising.
Yes.
Three really and the Argo was obviously, so I was thinking, okay, maybe he did that. And then the first half of the movie was good. And then it just put in all these things it didn't need to have. And I just don't know.
Now, how was it a long movie too? Like, could this have been cut out?
Yeah. It wasn't that long. I mean, with trailers, it was less than 2 hours. I mean,
maybe it was like filler.
Yeah, I wonder if it sounded like maybe padding.
yeah, because it's not interesting. World War One.
Yeah, it's not enough.
Not a lot happened.
Yeah, not a lot happened. I mean, and then with this woman, this is a woman living in a Muslim country in 1920. Mm-hmm. There's no fucking way. Show me that. Show me. I was thinking there's that in, this is a crazy example, but in Good Morning Vietnam, right? He meets the Vietnamese girl and he says, look, I know there's no way. They go on the date to the movie, the whole family. Nothing happens, but it was really, part of that to me was used to show how different the cultures were.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting because you don't know what it was like to be a woman in 1920 in Turkey, right? And so show you that.
Yeah.
We want to experience things that we can't experience on a daily basis.
And let's see how there's no way this is going to let's see. And they do a little bit of it she's promised to another guy and all that stuff. Like, okay, wow, let's see what that was like, and
anybody get a phone thrown at them?
I'm sure behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
That should be an Easter egg in every Russell Crowe movie.
Oh my God!
Somebody gets a phone.
If he was cool, he would do that.
Yeah.
Seriously, if he had a good sense of humor, oh my God, that'd be amazing.
Be awesome. But yeah,
one movie, it's out a window.
Yeah, but it's in the background. You don't have to make it a main
see you
point.
Next Wednesday. Right. It's always been something. It's always.
What's that reference?
That is what's the filmmaker who does See You Next Wednesday?
I was thinking when you said that, I was thinking.
I just blanked on his name. I made the reference and then blanked on his name.
I was thinking Alfred Hitchcock, who's it would
the
be
MacGuffin.
a phone. Yeah,
the MacGuffin.
It would be a phone.
See You Next Wednesday. Oh God, why am I blanking on that?
Go ahead, pull it up.
Oh shit, son of a bitch.
But yeah, I was thinking it's a phone version of Alfred Hitchcock in every one of his own movies.
Yeah.
See You Next Tuesday. See You Next Wednesday.
That's the sequel.
Is
it's funny because
John Landis. That's right, John Landis. He puts that in all his movies. John Landis. Okay. Like in American Werewolf in London, there's a See You Next Wednesday as a poster. And it's in everything.
Speaking of See You Next Wednesday or Tuesday, my sketch group, which we haven't really made anything in a while, is called See You Next Tuesday. So, check that out. Anyway, thank you. I'm very smooth.
And then throw a phone.
Yeah.
The Water Diviner was just by the end of it, I was like, man.
Yeah.
Like you had me. I was in. I was
right.
There's flashbacks to the war footage, which is intense and done really well. And showing him in the outback, and then all of that stuff was done really well. And it just it got off the rails, man.
Oh,
it's a bummer. It could have been a lot better.
Well, I watched the preview to the D Train or D Train, and that happened in the preview for me, where the first 30 seconds of the trailer was like, oh, I kind of like this. I like guys that are down on their luck. And that's why I'm here with you guys. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Well, you showed up. So
That's how we get most of our guests. Some sort of handout charity.
Sure.
Note to self, don't go to podcast and insult the host.
Hey, we'll take a pity guest.
No. Rather have you.
I'm the pity. Yeah, no, I'm the pity
look
guest.
down on us than not show up.
I'm the pity guest. But that happened in the trailer where I was totally hooked for the first 30 seconds, and then all of a sudden it got just really weird and confusing, and it was you didn't need to throw all that in. I was interested in the premise in the beginning, and so I chose not to go see the D Train or D Train. I don't know if the is in the title. I chose Hot Pursuit over that because that trailer was just it just took a left-hand turn.
Well, that makes sense. I agree. I'd almost rather just go see something that's silly and dumb and knows what it is versus kind of setting me up getting tricked.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
if you
really
know what you're
I
getting into.
Yes.
It's different.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you like
character studies.
You like character studies, and you said you've got a new screenplay that you wrote.
Yes.
And so tell us about that, and then tell us about what types of movies you really like in terms of the character study.
The screenplay I wrote is called Autumn's Friend, and it's kind of like it's an autobiography type thing for me because it's basically about someone with inferiority complexes and her struggle trying to get over those.
Wait, you're a comedian that has an inferiority complex?
Can you believe it?
I can't even.
But you know what upsets me is I meet so many comics that seem like they don't have an inferiority complex or they're super confident, and I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Isn't that a red flag that they actually are?
Yes, that's a very good point. I'm not perceptive enough. I just believe everybody. I'm like, you must be so cool because you seem it. I don't. So so it's hard to describe the plot. You know, obviously I had to have some plot in there to make it somewhat interesting to read. So basically it's a struggling writer journalist girl who meets this friend, this woman or this girl named Autumn. She's a peer in the industry and who's doing incredibly well and has everything going for her. And it turns out to be kind of a like a cat and mouse kind of game where Autumn is really a bad person and uses Casey, my character, to continue to get higher in her own world, but then it comes crashing down on Autumn. I chose that outcome because that would be very happy to me in real life for that to happen to people. And within it, it's like a dramedy. I wouldn't say like dark comedy. I don't think it goes dark enough at all to really be considered totally dark. But there's a lot of moments of Curb Your Enthusiasm type scenarios where she's kind of in these moments that makes her look like the bad guy, but she's really trying to do the right thing. So she's constantly being perceived the wrong way, when it's Autumn who should be perceived in that way. So the tables kind of turn toward the end. But it's pretty funny. I think it could use another comedy pass, a joke pass. But I think it's kind of I didn't love this movie, which is a great reason to write a script that's similar to it, but Young Adult by Diablo Cody.
Okay.
Not totally the same, but kind of the same. It's like a 30-year-old struggling, and she's, kind of is perceived as a loser because of her own demons. So it's somewhat similar to that. And
you just finished it?
I finished it about probably 3 or 4 months ago. But now I'm on like the second draft of it. So yeah, I'm sure nothing will happen with it. I'm very optimistic. Glad I spent a year doing it. Really made sense.
Well, what are some of the other movies like that are those sort of character studies?
Well, I love flawed characters. It began as a kid for me because I was totally not liked in high school and things like that. So starting with like George Costanza as a kid, and I actually am wearing, this is embarrassing, but I'm wearing a necklace that says Costanza.
Oh, nice.
Because I'm so in love with flawed characters who are truly, just them, themselves. So as I got older, obviously my tastes, evolved a little bit, but, one movie that I love, is Barney's version with Paul Giamatti. If you haven't seen it, I loved it. It was a book first and then adapted into a screenplay, and it came out probably
2010.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3 years ago, but yeah, oh my God, 5 years ago at this point. But basically he plays this guy who is just super flawed. He leaves his first wife because he falls in love with this girl, who's played by,
Rosamund
Pike. And
Dustin Hoffman's in it.
Yeah, it's a good cast. It was super underrated, I felt like. And basically, he's just a total, can I say the F word?
Yeah, you can.
He's a total fuck up. He fucks up everything. He fucks up his first marriage, his second marriage, his friendships, and he's super narcissistic and can't seem to make the right decisions, and he isolates everyone around him, or he isolates himself from everyone around him, and ends up ending in kind of a sad way. So I really like things that are realistic, I'm not really into sci-fi and things because I like to relate.
You like your movies grounded.
I like them very
like
grounded.
Hot Pursuit.
Yes, exactly.
Grounded in reality.
Down to earth for sure. Mm-hmm.
Now, what are some of your favorite dramas?
I loved Inglourious Bastards is definitely my all-time favorite movie of all time. I don't know.
Again, not grounded or
yes,
reality
yeah, not at all. Right. Things I do and say don't really align all the time. Here I am talking about just being who you are, and I'm like all over the place. Oh God, I hate myself. But I loved Inglourious Bastards. I loved how, you can't even really talk about that. I love Quentin Tarantino movies.
And what about a movie like Sideways?
I loved Sideways. It was a little slow for me, but But again, I love that flawed character, and I love Paul Giamatti because it's like he's
so
great.
guy.
playing those kind of guys.
He's that guy.
Just the little scenes too when he gets so worked up over Merlot. I'm not drinking. I'm not drinking.
But you
Merlot.
understand him.
Yeah, you totally
understand
do. Like,
why
it
he feels that way.
real.
Yes.
Like
There's a guy that's that wound up about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I read.
There's stuff I'm that wound up about. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's Merlot.
Well, I read the Sideways screenplay when I was writing mine, because I really wanted to kind of mirror that person just who's struggling, and people, it's small little things that in the big scheme of the world they're all very minute and not really going to make a difference in our world at all. So I like when we get really nitty gritty with characters, and I just felt like his character had all these things that he was caught up on because he was kind of narcissistic in a way, but you understood why and you understood where he was coming from, and it feels justified. Because I have had a few people read my screenplay, and I've gotten really good feedback. One main, I think, complaint in the script seems like she doesn't seem justified, or not justified. She doesn't seem to have a reason to complain, in the script. Like, she's an attractive enough girl who's got like a nice enough place to live, and like the world isn't ending. And so I think some people won't get on her side. I try to make her pretty sympathetic and everything, but I like when you can get on the side of someone who doesn't have the world's biggest problems, but you can understand why and where they're coming from.
Right.
So I think that's really human, because I think people like to pretend they're really, maybe some people are really passionate about world problems, but I like people who just admit that we're all self-involved, and it's okay to kind of get down on yourself sometimes. So, it's kind of like, well, they're starving people in China. It's like, well, who cares about them? Let's talk about me. That's kind of, that's how I don't know. I like characters like that are just real and honest.
American.
Very American. That's why I liked Hot Pursuit. So,
all right, cool. Well, let's go into. So, before we go into the DVDs? So obviously you're just going to maybe take another pass at the script and then start shopping it around.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried.
You try to make it yourself.
I would. This woman who read it, she's worked in studios and everything, and I really trust her opinion. And she said, no matter what, you should make this. If no one buys it, still make it, because it's who I am to the core in terms of my comedy, my sense of humor, my writing style, the way I see the world. And so it would be a great thing for me to put out there, just be like, hey, here I am.
Right.
Yeah. So if I could, the thing is, I get so overwhelmed, and I don't know how you would start to make a movie. Like I said, inferiority complex. It's funny because I wrote a screenplay about someone getting over it, and ironically, that's what's going to keep me from trying to make the movie.
And that's why you should make it.
Exactly. So that I can actually win, because in my screenplay I win, but I really want to win,
If you make the movie, then you will have overcome all that.
Yes. And I won't be at this podcast. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I love being here. Thank you for having me. Please invite me back.
All right. Well, let's go into
DVDs. Now, we already teased it a little bit. Mordecai, and I'm going to assume you haven't seen Mordecai.
I have not.
No, I don't know anyone who has.
It's honestly.
Even on a plane.
I now, after listening to Kristen, I'd rather watch Hot Pursuit than Mordecai.
Right. Yeah.
If I'm on a plane, and both of these movies are going to be on a plane, I'm going to be on.
What was Mordecai again?
Who cares?
Exactly.
It was Robert. What's his?
It was the Johnny Depp.
The stupid mustache.
Yes. That's the one. That's
right?
One where you see the billboards or the ads.
Yeah, it
and
almost made me
cringe.
crash.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
No.
But nobody.
How does this happen?
Nobody watched it and came back with your reaction like you did with Hot Pursuit. Actually, Mordecai.
Yeah.
If they did, they've been beheaded, I think.
Yeah.
They've been actually just taken out of society.
Maybe because nobody watched it. Literally. Like, there was, no one except movie reviewers who were paid to go see it. It tanked completely. Even Johnny Depp fans were hard-pressed to, I'd skip this one.
It's just...
I sat through Lone Ranger. I'm done.
I mean, literally, we've done Lone Ranger, we've done Mordecai.
He do another movie that was supposed to be somewhat funny recently.
I also watched Dark Shadows. I sat through that as well. It was now his new movie. looks amazing.
Which one is
The Whitey Bulger.
Right, because
movie.
let's go back to what Johnny Depp does.
Yeah.
Good actor. He does the character stories.
Right.
Yep.
Stop. Whoever the fuck is telling him he's a comedian should stop.
Yeah,
Stop.
Like the Donnie, I'm like, oh, maybe I get another Donnie Brasco or
Yes,
something like
yes.
that.
Yeah.
Be that guy.
Right.
Wacky outfits and hats. No more. No
Right.
more no more crazy accents. I don't want to hear
Or
it.
hats.
No
or bird hats.
No bird hats. I don't want any mustaches.
Yeah.
Wigs. I
I really liked him in Public Enemies. I think that was not like
again, that was him like playing a
character.
Yeah, playing a guy
Yeah.
Rooted in his
Even
reality.
like his quirky stuff that before he was like full on, in comedy mode, like Crybaby. Movies like that are just really fun to watch. So Mordecai, we say this before. If you're going to go see it, there's nothing we are going to say to stop you. So good luck. Still Alice. We talked about this in
really good movie. Did you see it?
We talked about this ad nauseum pretty much. We even did a spoiler app on Still Alice.
I'm still having post-traumatic stress from that movie because I'm convinced I have Alzheimer's. I keep forgetting words. I don't forget like where I'm going. It's not that extreme, but I almost got in my head where I saw the movie and maybe the next day I couldn't think of a word. And then it became like a self-fulfilling prophecy where now I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to think of this word. And then I can't think of it.
You remember that part in the movie where I said, I'm going to tell you an address and ask you about it? And then I couldn't remember the address.
Yes, yes. That kind of stuff.
God.
Very paranoid about that. And I have this like gas card or this PIN number that I use. And it's like every time I use it, I get the number right, but if the card doesn't work, I'm like, no, I definitely got the number wrong. But this is it.
Still Alice.
This is Still Alice. I really have not gotten over that movie.
And then,
Which is a testament to how good of her performance it was.
Yeah.
Basically what we had is an amazing performance in a mediocre film.
Yeah, the
That's
rest of the
pretty
film
much
was
what happened.
Yes.
But if anyone out there who hasn't seen it,
It's worth watching solely for
Julianne Moore's performance.
I watch for the mediocrity, actually.
Yeah. Oh, you like Hot Pursuit?
Yes.
you just eat the pizza crust. Why mess with all that stuff in the middle?
Why do you need the good stuff? Ugh. Come on, get out of here.
That's for other people, not for me.
Black Hat. This is one of those crazy movies that
If you want to see Thor be a hacker,
is
you
one of
can
those
watch,
movies where I was
Black
like,
Hat.
how did I not see this on the road?
Right. How is this not on an airplane?
It was actually, I'm amazed I wasn't on the road, bored out of my skull, and went, well, Black Hat's playing at 2 o'clock.
I wonder, too,
Mm-hmm.
it's like because, Chris Hemsworth is so busy with all the Marvel stuff, and I'm like, well, he's still got time to do these other movies, and you think, too, like, oh, this is the one he picked? You could kind of have your choice of a lot of stuff at this point. So.
If I heard the title Black Hat, I would say no. It's like, eh.
Not even a Western.
Yeah, there was a Black Hat that came out in 2011 that was a Western. But this is the hacker one.
This isn't that one.
I wanted to see it only because I was like...
On a plane.
Deeply depressed.
I just bummed out. Oh, Black Hat, it's one word. Just because I was like, it seems sort of...
Past the timing.
Past the time,
like
intrigue.
A good rental, that kind of thing.
Global,
like, all right.
he's going to...
I'm
crash
folding
the world.
laundry. This is that kind of movie. I'll have this on in the background. He's dreamy.
Exactly.
I'll watch him.
Of course.
Yeah, crack into some computers.
One day.
He's too good looking to crack into computers, though. That's the problem.
There's no computer hacker that has the time for that physique.
No.
Yeah.
There's no.
No, why would you cast
at the
him?
computer the whole time.
Again, that's a perfect role for Paul Giamatti.
Exactly.
That guy, bald, he's hacking in.
Now, to prove us wrong, if you or a computer hacker who has a team of stylists
and a personal trainer,
let us know that we're wrong.
Show me if any of you are professional fighter athlete program hackers. Send us your photo and post it to the Comedy Film Nerds Facebook page.
Yeah, along with your Ruby on Rails certification.
Yeah, of course. That's what I want to see. I want to see that this exists.
So now, premiering this week. I cannot wait for this film, Mad Max: Fury Road.
I thought you were going to say Pitch Perfect.
Yeah. From the director of Happy
Pitch, please.
comes
I love how they're using that pun all over the place.
Mad Max.
Pitch, please.
And I gotta say, I think when this movie's they've been trying to make this movie for a long time. George Miller's been trying for many years. And here's the interesting thing about it. I really think this was that kind of movie that kind of had a lot of stuff going against it. Like, first of all, Mel Gibson is iconic in this role. He's not in it. Remakes are always hit and miss. And like this kind of was a product of its time. Would it be interesting again? And I have to say, I think it jumped every single one of those hurdles, and I cannot wait to see this movie. It looks unbelievably cool. You know what it looks like? Almost like a post-apocalyptic Black Hawk Down, where it's literally like an hour and a half crazy car chase.
That's my fear of it. I read an article about it in Entertainment Weekly, and they're like, "Oh, it's got a 90-minute or 2-hour car chase," and
right.
That makes me go.
You think that's not going to be enough to hang the movie?
Well, because the original one, and again, George Miller's one from '79. I mean, it's a completely different thing. That thing was made for $10 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like so.
And Mad Max was a cop too.
He was a cop. Society was starting to crumble. Right. This more seems like they're picking it up right in the Road Warrior, where everything had already kind of fallen apart.
Everyone's already fighting over water.
But there is, and Mad Max and the Road Warrior, he is that flawed character that Kristen you talked about, who has to doesn't want to do the right thing. He's just out there for himself, and then has to kind of be the hero because the world is so horrible, and he's kind of like, there's still some moral compass inside of him. And if all I'm doing is watching car chases and things blow up for 2 hours, like where is that going to happen? That's my concern with this, because I
am really hoping that you will be proved wrong in this movie. I'm hoping that George Miller figured out a way to do both. Like there's those compelling character moments. They just maybe be happening in a speeding car, or if there's ways that that character development in those arcs are compelling and not kind of thrown in like what you're talking about, where the action is takes center stage. But I'm looking at it. I'm looking at these characters. I'm looking at the way the movie's put together. I am very optimistic that this is going to be a really fun.
What do you
ride.
think, Kristen?
I haven't seen the first one, which is maybe doesn't give me any street cred. I'm always looking for the street cred.
You boldly came in here and said "hot pursuit."
Yeah.
Work it. Hashtag work it.
The Road Warriors, just to know, it's a post-apocalyptic hot pursuit.
Yes.
Then I would love to see it.
With a Paul Giamatti type flawed guy.
But in a Sandra or a Sofia Vergara body. I want that. Well, just seeing the trailer, I've seen the trailer a bunch of times from going to the movies, and all I think of when I see that trailer is movement. Like you're saying, that 2-hour car chase. All I'm seeing is like speed, wind blowing, and what's her name's hair, and that's it. That's all that my brain thinks when I think of it. Yeah, kind of like
what's her name's hair, you mean Tom Hardy.
Yes.
He is
the her part specifically.
She is delightful. But I mean, like, you tell me Tom Hardy, when I first heard Tom Hardy's in, I'm like, great, I love Tom Hardy. Charlize Theron, I think, great. But I'm already exhausted knowing that I got to sit through 2 hours of already like, ugh.
You already did that with Fast and the Furious.
There was moments, though. There was breaks. They always talking about family.
There were breaks in the car.
You know what I mean?
That's true. There might be a lot of family talk.
It's like, that's the thing. I just...
we're gonna
the action sequences... here. Well, that's a great example. The action sequence in Fast and Furious aren't nonstop. They put stuff in there, and you need those breaks to make the action.
There's no question. You have to be. It can't be a 2-hour car chase.
So... I don't know.
It looks like it's so far the critics are enjoying it, right? I think it has good reviews so far.
Yeah. So maybe
It's got 9.2 on IMDb and 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Those are good numbers.
They
are very good numbers.
So, I think we might be doing a spoiler up for this.
We will indeed. Who are we going to have for the spoiler?
Oh, I'm not going to say their name because what if they cancel?
That is a wise play. Yeah, that's a wise play.
If they don't make it. It's Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Mad Max spoiler up, and if he cancels, we got a backup.
Yeah, we might be, hiring a babysitter 2 weekends in a row. We saw Avengers, and now I think my wife wants to see Mad Max too.
Wow.
We're going because otherwise I'll see it at dad time, which is
Friday at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. on Friday.
Oh.
I don't know.
After the kids
I don't
are
know if
dropped
I'm
off.
gonna I gotta go see this on the giant IMAX at the Chinese or whatever. ArcLight. I don't know. I don't know. I can't get that fired up for this film.
You know what movie, and I don't want to just bring up random movies, because I know you guys have a very good outline, but
Go ahead. I brought up Good Morning Vietnam
Yeah.
in relation to the World War One.
what did you guys think of Kingsman? Did you see that?
Oh, we talked about that.
Yeah. That Kingsman was another movie where we both thought this is going to be cool and then got really dumb and weird and
Oh, I liked it.
no, everyone split. This movie
Yeah.
I
splits
really
people.
liked it.
We had
Yeah.
so many fans write in
Absolutely
going,
love it.
who just
Yeah.
completely disagreed with us.
Yeah, I loved it, and I don't usually like those types of movies, and I just thought it was really entertaining when you just kind of break it all down. It just seemed entertaining. Where do you think it went off the rails or jumped the shark a little bit?
Oh, Kingsman.
Second half.
Yeah, the second half,
Second
it
half,
got
yeah.
too, God, I'm trying to remember now, that movie.
It got weird and crazy.
Yeah, it got
Just-
weird and crazy. When it started out just as this cool secret society, I was really down with that. And then it just got...
And then, weird accents and just kind of dumb scenes.
Yeah. Well, I almost didn't go see it because of the accents. It's
Yeah.
so hard to understand that,
Right.
like Cockney accent. Is Cockney? Cockney? Oh my God, not Cockney.
Cockney. Call it-
Cockney.
I was thinking more Samuel Jackson's
Cagney.
accent.
What is it? Yeah, yeah.
That
that's
was the
true.
one that was really annoying.
Well, that was a lisp.
Yeah.
All right.
I just haven't talked to anyone about that movie, and I really liked it. And I'm like, what do people think about this movie?
People split.
It really,
Yeah.
it really split on it.
In
Everyone-
fact, I was surprised. Like when I didn't like it, I'm like, you know what? I think Graham might like this movie. And then Graham was like, yeah, well, I like those movies, I'm probably going to like it. And then Graham came back and
Hated
you were
it.
right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I was surprised when I just saw. I'm obsessed with Rotten Tomatoes, but I was surprised when I saw it had a little bit of a lower rating. I was like, what?
Well, it was like I said, a bunch of our fans posted on Twitter and Facebook and stuff that they liked it and why they liked it.
Yeah.
And they liked that filmmaker and they liked the comic. I believe it was based
Yep.
on. So they,
Yeah.
I think
Well, you have good fans, good,
We do have-
smart fans.
we have smart.
We
fans.
do indeed.
Even if we're dumb. All right, and the other movie, Pitch Perfect,
Perfect
2.
2, yep. All right. For all the unanswered questions. Perfect 1.
This feels like the kind of movie. If you like the first one, you're just gonna.
You're on board.
It doesn't
You're
matter
like,
what anyone says.
You like a cappella singing, and I will say there was a couple things in the trailer that made me laugh when they're talking about competing in the international competition, and it says no American has ever won because the whole world hates us. And there's like some funny scenes like that in there.
And then there's a big cheer erupts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hate you.
Well, the first thing, the first movie when I saw the trailer or poster for the first Pitch Perfect, I was like, oh God, whatever. Then I haven't seen the whole thing, but I've seen clips of it on TV or whatever, and I'm like, oh, actually, this movie kind of has a sense of humor and kind of spoofs that world a little bit. Not a full-on parody, but they do.
Poke fun a little
They
at
do
themselves.
poke fun. Like they like it. They like a cappella singing, but also know that it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
and they can
they
make
get
fun of
it.
it. So that to me, and
Right.
that's what I hear from the trailer, the second trailer too, that I think it could be decent. So
All right, so you have quite a choice this weekend. Mad Max or Pitch Perfect 2. That was actually really good programming because chances are you're going to see one or the other. The thing that was interesting was that Mad Max feels like a movie that should be later in the summer. Like we just had Avengers. People are still going to see Avengers. I think, I'm not sure, but it was one of those movies that when it was being made, there maybe not have been a ton of confidence in it. Like it was like the first Hunger Games. The studio didn't know what they had. I think this is going to be a huge movie. I really do. People are excited to see it. It's getting good first buzz, and the trailers have been amazing. So I think this movie's going to do very, very well and exceed expectations.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh, I was going to say, looking at the two movies coming out this weekend, to me it just screams, teenagers at the theater, don't go. Teenagers at the theater, don't go. They're really annoying, don't go. I have like an issue with people talking at the movies, and so
Right.
like when I know there's teenagers, usually I'll go to the Landmark, and there's not that many, but
right, or you go like Monday afternoon or something.
yeah. Or Monday nights to see Hot Pursuit.
Yeah, there's that as well.
Well, this is I'm curious to this release date too because next weekend is Tomorrowland,
Yes,
which that makes sense to me.
we already have tickets. The kids are like really excited.
I'm sure.
Dad alert, dad alert.
Yeah. Oh, we got the El Capitan. tickets too. We're gonna go. We're gonna make
How cute.
the whole day pretty much. Is you go down. There's a magic show, a live organ player, and then you get like an actual Disneyland pin, and then you watch the movie. So
how cute.
They're really excited.
All right.
Luxuries of being a kid in L.A. I mean, I grew up in like upstate New York.
Yeah, there's nothing like that.
Oh, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, this is the fun stuff you can do here is ridiculous.
Yeah, so but I'm really
We got in
looking
a
forward to
van
this
and
movie.
drove to Kansas City to like be with the friends.
Right,
family. Like,
right.
That was our big trip.
Yeah.
We never went to Disneyland or any of that stuff. I think partially because my dad was a college professor and was like, wow, there's no educational value.
Yeah, but he was a theater.
You can learn what not to do. That's always
German theater history.
Is that what your father was a
Yeah,
professor?
German theater history.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's like
Let's go. Did they have a Bertolt Brecht ride at the?
Like, how do you narrow it down to those three
Oh
things?
God, I don't know. How can you find something just so serious?
You would have to go to an amusement park in Germany
Yeah.
for it to even count.
Come on, kids, you want to go see Goethe?
No, that was my German accent.
That's great. God,
No.
spot on.
Thank you.
Close my eyes. I was back in Munich.
Thank you.
Back
Thank you.
when I lived in Munich.
Thank
for a
you.
year.
Thank you.
All right.
9, no miles.
No snow miles. It's more of a camp, internment camp type of a Disney experience. No, this is no joke. No joke. When we lived in Munich for a year as a child, do you know what we visited? Dachau.
What's Dachau?
It's
An amusement park.
It's
Sounds like it.
yeah. It was an amusement park for the Nazis. It was
Was it a concentration camp?
It was a concentration
Oh my God.
camp.
Yeah.
My dad took me.
You visited that as
we
a
went
kid?
at 6 years old. I was walking around Dachau.
Oh my God.
You want to know why I'm the way I am? This is the way because I saw a photo. We were walking around this camp, and I give my parents credit in the sense that, like, look, kids, we're not going to sugarcoat this world for you.
Right.
This is what happens. This is
Wow.
how human beings can treat each other.
When you're
So
an
get
adult,
ready.
you can go to Disneyland.
Exactly.
When you're a kid, we're going to take you to a concentration
Going to
camp.
Dachau.
The most formative years of your life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's cool. I
we
mean,
never went to amusement. I remember when my parents got divorced, we went to my dad and we moved to Chicago. My dad was living in Wisconsin. He took my brother and I to Six Flags, which is an amusement park. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
wow.
Did he have a scowl on his face the whole time?
He's like, I'll bring you to Six Flags.
We had season tickets to Wisconsin Badger football games, so that was fun. But the Badgers were horrible. And then we went to Dachau and museums. The whole year I lived in Germany.
That's good though, because if you had like my parents who just loved I'm sure your parents loved you, but just loved me beyond belief. And it just made the crash of adulthood a lot harder. You know, like when you think like, oh, life's so beautiful and lovely and like everyone loves you and everything's great. And then all of a sudden you turn like 20 and you don't have any job.
I knew the whole world was awful and corrupt.
No, yeah.
Well, you talking
I
about
knew
the
people
movies,
were
they took you
bad.
to younger, too.
Oh God, they took me to Amityville Horror. They took me to
It's amazing.
I remember going to see like any movie, all those movies about like any of those Dustin Hoffman, like Straight Time, these movies about corruption and and that was the cop shows that they let us watch in the 70s were all about, like Police Story and shows like that, Kojak, were all just like, the city's up for grabs, like
Night Stalker?
Night Stalker. Yeah, that's what I watched.
I'm actually kind of jealous of your childhood.
Yeah, if you like nightmares,
No, I watched. Oh my God! I as a kid, I was the most innocent thing, and all I have now are nightmares. Just every single night, nightmare. So,
So will High
I think
Pursuit give you a nightmare now?
I had one last night, so it probably did give me one. It's like these people are successful and you're not. Like nightmares. Like they did it. They're working and you're not. And nightmares.
The only way to get successful is to make Hot Pursuit.
Yeah.
That's a nightmare.
One thing I will say, if anyone goes and watches it, I think at the beginning Reese Witherspoon is so annoying. At the beginning, I was like, no, I'm not going to be able to handle this. But then she grows on you a little bit once she gets out of that cop uniform because it just looks so cartoony. But anyway,
All right. Fair enough.
bringing it full circle.
You have the most insane review of that movie. It's the most schizophrenic review I've ever heard.
But yet I want it to all be itself, which is so ironic.
So 10 minutes later, it might change.
Yes. Yes. It will. For sure.
So, site spotlight and fan feedback. One of the things I want to tell you guys had a lot of great responses to the Avengers spoiler app. But one of the things that I found interesting is a lot of you guys posited a lot of theories on like what the Marvel Cinematic Universe will do next, like how they're going to incorporate the Infinity War and Guardians of the Galaxy. And I will say some of you were putting that on Twitter on like 5 to 6 tweets in a row.
Yeah, it's hard to follow.
Yeah, but do that on the message boards because
you can actually
you
read
can
them.
actually type a paragraph. And also, the other fans can actually read what you think is going to happen into the universe, which is cool because we've got a lot of stuff coming up. You know, we've got everything from the Civil War, Captain America Civil War. We've got the Infinity War, which is going to be a 2-part Avengers, and we also have like more Thor movie. There's another Thor movie coming out. So yeah, put all your theories on how do you think all this is going to tie together and how they're going to wrap it up because they're really fascinating and interesting because somebody's going to be right. You know, everybody, everything that you guys are writing, you know, you're gonna, some of you are gonna be right.
All right, and then let's read. We got this very cool
Yes.
email from Stephen Cunningham. Hey guys, let me start with a little backstory. I recently got married, and we got back from our honeymoon in Quintana Roo, Mexico. We stayed in an all-inclusive resort. Oh, whatever, brag. Right on the beach. Sounds great, right? I missed my movies too much. Well, if you're on a nice resort, you shouldn't be missing movies, Stephen, this first of all.
Unless you live there.
Yeah.
You live on the resort.
I love movies, clearly, and when I'm on a nice beach resort, I'm only thinking about surfing.
Yeah.
So one night...
And Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now. Exactly. I'm water skiing through the Viet Cong held area. So one night we see on our activities page that they're having a movie and popcorn night. All right, sure, we'll check out what's playing. So we ask the concierge who informs us it's called Beyond the Reach and shows us the box art. Apparently this movie came out last year, 2014. I missed it completely. Not sure if you guys saw it. Didn't see it. Didn't know it existed, Stephen. But I don't remember you talking about it. So I decided, hell, we've got nothing else to do other than hang out at a nice all-inclusive resort. What, were you checking your internet when you were there? What are you guys doing? I don't remember. So we said, hell, we've got nothing else to do. Let's go to this movie blind. Let's not look at the IMDb at all and just watch the film. All of a sudden, Michael Douglas is on screen. I'm like, all right, let's see where this goes. We loved the film. Critics were lukewarm about it on IMDb, and this certainly isn't a movie I would have seeked out, but I'm glad we saw it. The kid who played against Douglas had to go through some tough shit in this film. Plus, it is a very satisfying ending. I recommend going into this movie with an open mind. Read the line on IMDb, but that's it. Don't watch a trailer or read any reviews. I think it'll be worth your time.
All right.
That's cool. You know what? That's honestly, Stephen, and he goes, thanks for all the info. You guys rock. Stephen, you rock, even though you should be having more fun on your honeymoon.
Yeah.
Seriously.
His wife's like, divorce, please.
All-inclusive resort.
Yeah.
All-inclusive resort. Yeah, let's go to the movies.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's really cool, and I think that is a good point of I have done that on occasion, just like, I don't know anything about this and go in. And it is kind of a cool experience because you are then completely, like we've talked, several of the movies we talked about today, Hot Pursuit and Water Diviner, we both had these heavy preconceived notions going in that were completely altered.
It's great, too, when that happens, when you go in and you find a movie that's really good. I remember that happened to me with King's Speech. I literally knew nothing about it. It just lined up with the time I had to go see a movie at that time, and it was amazing. And I'm glad I didn't know anything about it beforehand.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. That's a cool recommendation. So, thank you, Stephen. Well, I think that's it.
Yeah, we have one very cool announcement about LA Podfest. We've added another rather large show they have never been in the festival before, but we added Thrilling Adventure Hour to LA Podfest this year. And
they're going to be doing a very kind of cool, unique, kind of different show and stuff, but with the same cast. It's going to be...
It's going to be great.
I was talking to Ben Blacker about it the other day. So they're actually now on some crazy tour through like New Zealand and Australia. Which is awesome. So, LAPodfest.com, guys, September 18th through the 20th. And then, all right, Kristen, where can people find your podcast, you online, the internets, the Twitters?
How can they cheer you up?
How can they help with your nightmares?
Give me money and positive feedback about who I am as a human being. You can find me on Twitter at Kristen Carney. Mostly hilariously negative things on there. And then my podcast, the Ask Women podcast on Sideshow Network. You can download anywhere. On all the things.
Awesome.
All the things you can download it on.
Well, guys, we're as we do every week, we'll post Kristen's Twitter in our post for the show, so you can follow her that way and check out some cool stuff at Sideshow Network. We've worked with them a bunch.
Yes, and they're going to be involved with the festival this year as well.
As always. And Sean Merrick, of course, who used to be our intern.
He's now a producer over there.
So
He'll also be in earbuds.
Yeah, he started in this very garage.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, now I've got some dirt on him. Not that this is a bad place to start. Again, don't insult the podcast host next time you come.
Well, he's moved on. We haven't.
Yeah. So he's someone you want to talk to.
Yeah. We're lower tier guys. Cool. Oh, I want to say this. I just added Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm going to be headlining the Comedy Corner Underground June 19th and the 20th. So I just put that link is on my website, grahamelwood.com, and my Facebook fan page. And that'll be with Andy Erickson, who's very funny. So it's only 3 shows, 1 Friday, 2 Saturday, June 19th and 20th. It's a small little venue, so tickets are going to go quick. So come on down. It's only $15. There's no drink minimum or anything like that. So it'll be a really cool show. And then I will be in Vegas in July and Tahoe in August. So
Bragger.
Hello. Hi. I'll be in Vegas in July. So it'll be 148.
Nice. You won't be able to go outside.
I will not go
Now,
outside.
the end of July, we should mention, too, we're going to be part of Podcast Movement in Texas. So it hasn't been officially announced yet. We don't know what panels and stuff we're doing, but we're also working on getting a show together, too, that Friday night at Podcast Movement.
Yeah, that's
so we'll
around
be
July 31st, August 1st area.
So we'll be talking to you guys more about that as we get closer.
It's like, I'm having a podcast movement. Sounds like it's gross.
My Vegas dates are July 14th through the 19th and Tahoe August 19th through the 23rd. So check all those dates out, guys. Thanks for listening. Obviously,
support the store. We really appreciate it.
Following us on Twitter and Facebook, all those things are stuff you can do for free that really helps out the show.
Yes, good reviews on iTunes. That always helps.
And stuff. And then, as we said, spend $20 once a year with us. If everybody did that, we would be out of this garage.
We would be.
God, we'd be inside.
We'd be in a bigger garage.
So easy to do, people. Come on.
$20.
$20.
Don't be a cheap asshole. Everything
Seriously.
can't be free.
I'm like, don't look at me, but you guys should totally donate the $20.
All right. Well, thank you so much to our guest, Kristen Carney. My name is Graham Elwood.
And I'm Chris Mancini. And as always, remember,
Han shot first.